Hello, back on track with Killer today, episode 2, and even though we don't have vocals yet, we do have a guideline, a vocal guideline over here. We'll talk about that. I've converted the BFD rhythms to Groove Agent. I'm really happy that I did. It's kind of tortuous, but I think worth doing. So we've got a new drum sound, and even though it's not absolutely to my liking yet, I really did like the way the original BFD drum rhythm sounded. It's getting there, and I've got that level of flexibility over it now that I'm pretty happy I did that. Just today installed the version 11 Cubase update, so I'm still getting to grips with it. It's an absolute nightmare upgrading Cubase. They just make it really, really difficult. So I think I'm there now, and there's a few new features in version 11 that I'm really happy with, and we'll talk about those. Now, because the only real substantial change is the vocal line, I'm just basically going to jump to those rather than play the entire song. So this piano part that you're going to hear is going to be the vocal line. Big instrumental. Jump over it. Okay, where do I start? I'll have a quick look at the drums first before we move on to the vocals, which is the most interesting thing to talk about, really. But yeah, quite a lot of drums. So those are all the active parts. Gosh, there's a lot there. It's still got that nice shuffle feel that the original had. The most difficult correlation between the two has been the toms, and I still don't think that they're absolutely spot on yet. The toms on the BFD sounded better, so still more work to be done, but definitely in the right ballpark. It's a weird rhythm. I mean, I suppose any rhythm in 11/8 is going to sound a little bit weird. Okay, let's get on with this vocal deconstruction. So what have we got in version 11 that's new? Well, there's a few new features. They've concentrated an awful lot on the sampler control, which I kind of don't use, so I'm going to try to generate some enthusiasm for having a look at what that's all about. But in terms of the piano roll, there are quite a few new features, and even though they're fairly subtle, they're really great. We've got this new scale assistant. Now, I've got Scaler, which is better than the scale assistant in terms of giving me suggestions for chords and keys to play and interesting kind of musical ideas that I can vibe off. So Scaler's not getting replaced anytime soon, but Scale Assistant is more about the baked-in visibility of what's going on. So if we've got, let's get this there. Where are my notes? There they are. Okay, so I've set the editor scale to B Dorian, which is the key of the song. I don't care about scale suggestions. That's for if you don't have something like Scaler or Kales. Show scale note guides is kind of something or nothing. Basically, it changes. You might not even be able to see it. Probably can. It basically, when that's on, the grey strips are the notes in scale, and that's a standard piano roll kind of view. So that's something or nothing. But this snap pitch editing is just great. If I pick that note up now and move up, I jump immediately to C#4. So C isn't in the key of B Dorian, and they're from D to E. So if I pick this up, it won't let me drop it on a note that isn't in the key. That's an absolute game changer. Awesome. And you can have snap live input as well. Now, as it happens, because I've got Scaler mapped to the white keys, I don't particularly care about snap live input, but it would mean that if you didn't have Scaler and you were playing the keyboard like natively, then you could mash any of the keys that you want and it would basically snap to the nearest note in scale. But snap pitch editing, oh, I'm so happy about that. That's really fantastic. So I could now pick all of those notes up. So you've got, so there's 2 semitones between D and E and 2 semitones between F sharp, 4 and E. And there we've got G sharp 4 to A4. There's only 1 semitone in between them. So as I'm scaling this thing up, it's actually keeping everything in pitch. It's not a huge piece of functionality, but holy crap, does it make your job easier. Love it. Something else that I've just been having a little bit of a play with. I'll just nip over to the strummed guitar section because that's where we've got it. This imager is new. So basically, it's like a multi-band EQ kind of situation where you create these different zones. And you can apply different processing to them. So on my guitar, which is mono, I've created separate EQ bands and panned them. So it basically creates like a virtual stereo out of a mono input. Oh, yes! Thank you very much. So the high frequencies are over here and the low frequencies are over here, and the very low frequencies are still mono because you don't want to be making them stereo. Awesome. So thanks very much. That's already worth £85 it cost me to upgrade from 10.5 to 11. Happy. There's other stuff in there that I'll get to eventually. I watched all the tutorial videos today and made a few notes on. That sounds good. The one other feature that I've come across, I'm not sure whether or not I'll even use this yet, but it's there, is that you can basically make the piano roll only show you the notes that are actually in your key. I don't know. Show pictures with events. That's kind of less useful because it means you can't move things up and down. But if you've already decided on what you want your line to be and you're not going to be transposing stuff, I can see it being great. But show pictures from Scale Assistant just takes all the all the dead keys away. So this is now just a continuous strip of usable notes. So now if I pick that up, we're just moving one row at a time, but it's actually jumping over multiple notes. Potentially good. I haven't made up my mind on that one yet. So a few really, really nice little features. So the lyrics for this thing have been a son of a bitch. The problem is that I originally wrote the song lyrics first. Remember I said in episode 1 it's a song about a meteor hurtling through space. It kind of doesn't have to be the one that killed all the dinosaurs. That's kind of gone by the wayside. It's just a meteor that's about to crash into the earth and destroy loads of stuff. And so my first draft of this was written lyrics first. I didn't have any music to it, and I thought the idea was good, but then when I came to, I'm terrible at putting music to lyrics. I just don't think that way. So I basically threw the lyrics away, started with the music, and then set about on page 2 putting lyrics that fit to the song. So here we are, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and when I say 5, that's a page of an awful lot of edits on, of me changing my mind and scribbling lines out, and when it gets so illegible that I can't make it out anymore, I can't read along to it, I'll switch to the next page. So we've just got page after page. That's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I'm still going with all your guff. 12. So I'm currently on version 12 of this version of the song, and we've got to the stage now where those are the lyrics as they exist right now, and I wanted to try to keep as much of the essence of the guitar melodies that were there as I possibly could, and that really gave me a headache in this section over here. It's not really in any kind of time. It's really quite out technically. So the way that you do that, if you've not seen this before, you press this little link button, and now it links these two windows together. So when you zoom in on your audio and make that nice and big, you can see all of the guitar notes. You don't need to be able to see what note it is, you need to be able to see when it's being played. So if I pick that note up, and then it creates this little line, so I'll pick each of these notes up and basically move them to wherever the guitar has played those notes. So you can hear I got really lazy on those notes at the end. They didn't fit perfectly with anything that was played on the guitar. So you start having to use your judgment. Well, how do I want it to sound? Trying to get, first of all, lyrics that sound nice to sing. What was it? Shadows from the night are long. It kind of feels as if it's going to be nice sung. So I'm hoping that Pauline will sing this tomorrow night. So this is that kind of intermediate stage where I've spent most of the last couple of weeks. Any time that I've spent on music in the past couple of weeks has maybe 60-70% has been working on those lyrics. Lyrics are just tortuously difficult for me. I've read an interview with Leonard Cohen when he said exactly the same thing, that for him every song is an absolute torture, and he has to wring every note out of his body. And he's written the likes of Suzanne and Famous Blue Raincoat, and incredible songs, absolutely incredible songs, but they're not spontaneous. They don't just spring up out of nowhere. I did try to put lyrics over this, failed. But But I knew when I played that guitar line, you know, it's absolutely all over the place. It just kind of felt right, so I've left it, and I'm really fond of it now and don't want to throw it away. So anything else that the song does, there are sacrosanct moments where I say, right, I can't throw it away. I can't have vocals over the top of it because it'll have to be super low in the mix. You know, I want that to be the main focus of the song at that moment in time. You know, not many of the lines of this song follow any pattern at all because I've deliberately written them to the guitar part. And then others when the vocals just didn't fit despite, you know, me trying to shoehorn them in, and I've said, right, okay, I very, very nearly did the same with this section over here and just had an absolutely colossal empty space, but I decided it was just a bit too long. So that's where we stand with Killer at the moment. Hopefully we'll get these vocals done this weekend, get them processed, and we should have a vocal-laden version to show you maybe in a week or so. If you're interested in seeing that, please consider subscribing, hit notifications, then you find out when it comes out. Hope to see you then. Thanks a lot.